Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single.
Guys, welcome back to Precision Rifle Network. I can only assume that you would wholeheartedly agree with me that there isn't nearly enough Accuracy International content on this channel. So we're going to be looking at the Accuracy International AT rifle today, which is by far and away my most expensive safe queen. So let's get into this. Okay guys, before we get started here, I need to shout out our title sponsor, and that is Arkin Optics. Definitely check them out. You're looking at sub $500 optics that I think personally compare to other optics that are in the $1,000 price range. So really good optics, and I get this a lot, so I'm going to address it real quick. Some people are like, you're sponsored by Arkin Optics, but you're running a Night Force or a Zeiss or something else. It's like, well, you need to realize I have different rifles, and I'm not going to put the same scope on every single rifle, right? So my Arkin optic that I have lives on my Precision 22 long rifle competition gun. I've used it in competition for a year or more now, and it performs very well in that capacity. So anyway, just wanted to address that and shout out our title sponsor, so check them out. We've got the AI-AT here. We're going to take our first shots down here at 100 yards. Just make sure that our zero is anywhere close. Again, I can't remember if I used this Berger match grade 140 last time I shot this, or if I had it zeroed to like a Federal Gold Medal match 130 grain is kind of what I'm remembering. But we're going to get it on paper at 100, and then we'll see about stretching it out. I'll give you some more details about the rifle as we go along. So here we go. Ooh, tempting. There's birds on the top of both of those. I'm not going to do it. All right, that was 2 4/10 to the left. All right, here we go, same dot. Okay, let's move over to the second dot, I'm sorry, and see about putting a 3-shot group there. She's a shooter, boys and girls. All 3 of those are touching. I do need to slip my turret up here real quick on my elevation just to bring my zero stop back. I had to dial under by 2/10 to get it lined up, so I'm going to slip that real quick, and then we'll go for a first round impact out at 4 or 5 or 600 yards. We'll see what there is out there. Alright guys, so now let's stretch it out. I went ahead and I attached the Garmin chronograph to this so that I can get some actual velocity numbers, just in case this data doesn't line up at this 400 yard target. I'm expecting an impact. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to hit because I just guesstimated on the velocity based on the box of factory ammo. And again, I'm using the Berger 140 grain hybrid target. And we're going to get that going, and I'm going to get this guy started for you. Our 400 yard data is calling for 1.7, 1.567. Go ahead and see what we get for first shot here. Well, that Mirage is looking left to right down there. Grasses are looking straight up. I'm going to hold center. I'm going to see what we get. I'm going to favor left. Good impact. I think we were pretty close to centered. Let's try that again. We're pretty dang close to center. Let's go ahead and take one more so we at least have 3 shots for velocity. I'll take a few more, of course, but I'm going to hold a little low on that plate, see if I can get an idea of exactly where that's hitting. Yeah, we're not even a tenth off of our elevation data. So I inputted 2800 into my dope, and we're running at an average of 2830 feet per second roughly here on the chronograph. So I'm going to change that velocity in here real quick. It still comes out to the same. It went down to 1.66. I would round that up to 1.7 anyway. So let's go ahead and go out to the 500, see what this says for that. Calling for 2.48. So 2.5. Good impact. Send another one down, same spot. Let's go for that tiny target at 525 just because I want to see if I can tell exactly where it's hitting. Here we go. And I missed just off to the right. And just off to the left. That's a pretty small target down there. And just back off to the right again. So we're just dealing with a SubMOA target, which, I mean, the rifle's shooting that, but apparently I'm not capable in that wind. So we're gonna stop on that just for now, but we've got a good velocity average. We've got a good solid 0. Next, I'll stretch it out to 600 for you guys. And also I'm gonna pause here in a second and tell you about the rifle, because guys like to know all those details. Also to give you my first impressions of the worn Skyline bipod, the new version. All right, let's start with just a tiny bit of history, or at least a fun story anyway. I didn't know if you guys knew this or not, but Accuracy International was started in a small garage over in UK, Britain, wherever. Sorry guys, across the pond. I don't know my geography all that well. But it was started in a garage by a couple of dudes, right? And they were just turning out some, it's just like small gunsmith around here, right? Like doing rebarreling, putting together rifles, those sorts of things. Well, their rifles became very well known because they were shooting extremely well. And it was a new advancement in technology for the time, and they were doing great things. And they, like a lot of manufacturers, wanted to earn some sort of a military contract for mass producing their sniper rifles. And they put in for a contract, and the military got a rifle and wanted to test it, loved what they saw, and wanted more. They wanted to give them the contract, but they wanted to come and tour their facility first, right? Well, these guys, it's just a couple of dudes in a garage. So as the story goes, they rented a huge warehouse space, moved in a bunch of equipment that they didn't own to give the appearance that they were a much bigger operation than they actually were. Apparently, the higher-ups came and toured the facility, and they were very impressed, and Accuracy International won the contract, and the rest is history. And they're still producing some of the finest sniper rifles in the world. This one here is the Accuracy International AT. Has the original Lothar Walther barrel on it. When I bought it was in 308, is now 6.5 Creedmoor. Even though still the Lothar Walther barrel, that was important to me, so I went to Accuracy International. I went to Mile High shooting here in Colorado, and they set me up with the 6.5 Creedmoor barrel as well as the 308. Interfaced perfectly, still short action, obviously. Takes these AI magazines, which everybody's familiar with. These are the lower profile double stack versions, so I like that. And, you know, it is a side folder, which is a nice feature. Just a few things that I like about it, right? Like, so side folder and the barrel comes off. You throw the thing in a backpack, and then you put the barrel back on. And one of the popular things about this rifle is it's got a great return to zero. We're actually going to do that here in a minute. I'm going to take the barrel off, put it back on, and then we're going to put a group down there right next to our previous group that you guys already saw earlier in the video, just so I can show you the return to zero feature, and it should be pretty dang close. Got the spur mount up here, the SP 4001. Got the Night Force Attacker 5 to 25 up here on top. I've got the Little Bastard brake up on front, and the new version of the worn Skyline bipod. And so far, guys, this is sleek and it's very stable, and so far, zero complaints. With the exception of one, and it probably just comes down to being on this rifle, and that is, it seems like, and you can see how I've got the bipod legs splayed out forward, is because if I extend them up to their lowest normal position, it's actually too high to get behind the rifle on a standard bench like this. So I had to make everything lower. But one of the main downsides to Accuracy International rifles, until recently, is that the center of gravity on these rifles is actually higher than on more rifles, than on a lot of other rifles. It's top heavy. And so then you come down to the bottom and you add a Picatinny rail or something, not a Picatinny, excuse me, an Arca rail down here underneath the chassis, and everything gets the higher center of gravity. It raises even more. Everything is tall on this rifle, and you don't notice it. A big guy like me, laying prone on the ground, big chest and everything anyway, it's actually pretty comfortable to get down behind in the prone position, and you don't notice that. But here on a bench, that'd be my one complaint so far with the Warn. But man, a lot of great features on this guy. Adjustable for cant, of course. Got the Arca adapter that they included for review. So it's just got a lever on the back side. You can just slide that forward and back on the rail, which is nice. You've got the button, which you just depress down, and it just moves either full stowed to the rear. Obviously, you can stow it all the way to the front by that as well, or you have just your notches in the middle. And then to extend, you just pull, right? You've got all your notches here, and then the little button to adjust all those other things. So, you know, it's a pretty good rifle. As you saw from the group down there, tiny group, sub half minute with factory ammo. And just to give you a tip on the, or not a tip, but information on the Berger ammo, for 8 shots, we were looking at an average of 28, 29 feet per second. Standard deviation of 5.3 with an extreme spread of 17. So for factory match grade ammo, that's great. So let's go ahead and stretch this out to the 600 yard target now that the barrel's had a little bit of time to cool, and see if we get our first round impact. The wind is definitely switchy down there. As you saw from if I include that in the video, I shot at that tiny little SubMOA target at 525 yards, and I was off to the right, I was off to the left, I was back off to the right. I'm not going to sling rounds down there in that kind of a scenario and just waste ammo trying to get that hit. So we're going to go to a big plate at 600, see if we can figure out exactly where it's at and go from there. But switchy wind is switchy wind at the end of the day. So here we go. Yeah, looks like same wind. We're going to hold center. Impact just slightly to the right. I'm going to favor left and send another. Good impact. Hold left edge and send another. Click. Must be out, or I forgot to, maybe I didn't seat it all the way. I'll give it just a second. That's something that you don't see very often, is a malfunction on an AI. Might be dirty. It's literally been sitting in my safe for a couple of years now, so I'm going to give it a minute to make sure it's not a hang fire, and then I'm going to go ahead and open this guy up and just make sure that I was seated all the way, or maybe I just ran out of rounds and didn't realize it. It's so smooth. The action is so smooth when it strips rounds off and puts them into the chamber that you can't really tell. Like a lot of rifles, you can feel and hear the difference of the rounds going in versus on an empty mag. And on this, it's actually kind of getting hard for me to tell with my old ears, but we'll see if I had one in there or not. I didn't even have one in the chamber, so it was not a malfunction. It was just a senior moment, I guess. All right, so no issues with that. Let's go ahead and take the barrel off and put it back on and put another group at our 100-yard target down there and see what our zero shift from the quick change barrel feature does. Here we go. All right, I'll give you some B-roll on this, but there's just a single screw, a set screw here on this other side of the chassis, and I'm just going to bust that loose. A couple of turns. I don't even need to take it out all the way. And assuming I can just trusty pipe wrench. I was able to find a wrench, guys, and it was just slightly too tight for me to get with my hands. So here we go. I'll just go ahead and unthread this guy. I guess bear. Alright. Barrel off. 9 minutes to thread this thing back on. And I'm going to try and put about as much torque back into it as it had in the first place to bust loose, which is just slightly. Remind me next time I'm doing a video and I'm like, why the heck won't this barrel come off of here? It's because I just tightened it a little extra with a wrench. So here we go. And then I'll take the set screw and set this back down. Okay guys, so there was our first group. You can see that through the camera. So that's second dot over. That was our previous group. And I'm going to go ahead and move over to this far right side and shoot a group and see how far off our zero is from what our original aiming point, or our original zero was, excuse me. Here we go. Well, let's see. I'm going to come down to this next dot just in case I accidentally went off the top on that last one. Oh, I see it. Like we're like a full like 4, 5, maybe 6/10 low. All right, let's just go ahead and follow that up with 2 more shots. Okay, so you can probably see the result there. It's actually not the result that I wanted. I thought for sure we were going to be within an inch, because every time that I've done this before, it's been quite a few times, taking the barrel off and back on, I'm always sub-minute from where I originally was with the original group. This one's an anomaly. It actually is about 6 or 7/10 low. My elevation is still good, but my windage, I'm sorry, is still good, but my elevation, I was 6 or 7/10 below my original aiming point. Now, obviously, I can just adjust that, bring it up, and slip the turrets, and anybody could do that in the field. You're always going to zero again if you go from one area to another and put the thing back together. You're going to re-zero. Usually it's a better result than that, but take it for what it is. I'm not trying to sell rifles, so I'm just trying to show you my AI and why I like it and stretch it out a little bit. So I'm going to maybe tag that 600-yard target again here after I slip my turrets, and we'll wrap this thing up. Let's go ahead and go straight out to 600 yards. And put a few rounds down out there at that distance just to make sure that our dope is still good, and we'll call it quits. So here we go. Good impact. Follow that up. Good impact. I think I covered most of the things about the AI AT rifle. A couple things that I remember that I didn't really cover. Number one, I have an aftermarket thumb shelf over here on my main hand side, the right hand side over here, and I'm able to rest my thumb on as opposed to grabbing all the way around the grip. That's an additional add-on. It's cheap, but they are available, and I like resting my thumb off to the side, so that's in addition over here. Everything else is basically bone stock on this rifle. The green color, the OD green color that you see, these are actually called skins, and you can change those out. You can buy different skin sets. You can have them painted, hydro-dipped, whatever you want. Kind of a cool feature there. You can kind of customize and change things out. Mission adaptable, or whatever it is they want to say. A couple of main downsides. Number one is this grip. You're pretty much stuck with this grip. Now these back panels do come off, and they do have some other kind of rear panels where you can kind of change slight feel of it. But I would prefer it to be like a straight vertical grip. That's just what I like to shoot. But so let's call that a downside. Just taking that out, making sure you guys know it's a clear rifle. Another downside is just the high center of gravity. These rifles are very top heavy. They're designed to be shot from the prone or from a tripod or just from a stable position where you've had a lot of time to build that position and you're planning on staying in that position for some time. These are not competition rifles, not the AI-AT anyway. Now you can take the barreled action out of these and put them into, let's say, that new, what is it, the AI-X chassis, I believe, which has been made specifically for competition. They sell a complete rifle, they sell just a chassis that you can drop these barreled actions into, and it changes that center of gravity. It lowers it down to what you would normally have if you built out a custom Remington 700 style platform. It's the stuff of nightmares. That's what it is when it comes to busting these barreled actions out of these chassis. And I think that's what lends itself to such great accuracy out of these rifles, is that these barreled actions are locked into these chassis like none other. If you've ever tried to take a factory barrel off of a Tikka, you know exactly what I mean. It's just at great cost, at great emotional, personal cost, do you try to break one of these loose. Usually you just leave it. It's already perfect from the factory. Why mess with it? But some people, Greg Knoyer, like to just mess with their rifles, and it's fine. Nothing wrong with it. It's just, sorry, Greg, I had to poke a little fun at you because he's an AI guy that will watch this video. I really like the AI ATs. I think they're solid weapon systems. I mean, you're talking about a $5,000 rifle, a $3,500 optic, so they are not cheap. Like I said, it's my most expensive Safe Queen, but it's the rifle that if I were forced to choose only one for precision rifles, this is the one that I'm keeping. I don't know if that says anything to you guys, but just my experience, all the rifles I've shot, and I've shot most of them, that's my answer. And this thing is a hammer just all the time. No issues whatsoever. Parts readily available, not that you'd need them. But anyway, hopefully you appreciate a little bit more AI, a little accuracy, international content on the channel. Make sure and check out our sponsors. You probably saw some pop-ups as you went along, but Coltac and MK Machining. You can use code PRN10 to get you 10% off of anything that they sell. Got Axle hearing protection, which I'm using the Bluetooth X cores today and usually. PRN15 to get 15% off. And make sure you're subscribed and that you at least hit the thumbs up button for the effort that went into the video, please. And stay tuned for more great videos from Precision Rifle Network.